Hello, I'm Steve. Today I'm going to try to explain how this Mounjaro automatic injection device works. I really enjoy these engineering puzzles. I'm offering absolutely no medical advice. It's just an engineering appreciation of a cool gadget. There's 13 components to this. There's the needle guard, protect the patient from the needle. There's the clear sleeve that has a notch right there, a rib right there that prevents this black thing from rotating. And on the other side, there's a long rib, you'll see later, that keeps things aligned during assembly. This black cup does not rotate, but it's a cup filled with thick silicone grease. This white release mechanism fits inside that cup and rotates, and when it's about a quarter turn, when it's aligned, releases the needle retraction mechanism. These four components are the needle retraction mechanism. This is the spring that has two tangs, one along the long axis, and there's one in the back that's radial axis. This black cup is both the top piece of the needle retraction mechanism and the bottom piece of the injection and insertion mechanism. It's a cylinder, but it also has a sleeve, a square sleeve, that part of the mechanism comes down through. This is the syringe that delivers the medication with normally a 1/2-inch needle. I broke that one off. This is a collar that holds the syringe and plunger assembly together. It's like your fingers on the syringe as you inject. This is the main driving spring for the injection and insertion system. This is the top cap of that insertion injection mechanism. The plunger has two tangs here that lock, as in this one, lock this compressed spring plunger assembly in an armed condition, and it has this arm on the side. That arm descends through the sleeve I showed you on the black thing and releases that little ear to release the retraction mechanism, withdraw the needle. This is the lock-unlock mechanism, and the little notch over there, lines up with that tab, and after it's all spent, the needle is locked up inside the cylinder so that nobody gets hurt. And this is the button that triggers the whole thing, that fits inside this locking ring. When you press that button, it releases these green tabs. It pushes the two fingers together and releases the mechanism. I'll describe these as separate sub-assemblies. The first sub-assembly will be the insertion and injection mechanism. And here this is the insertion injection mechanism with the collar that locks the syringe in place, keeps the plunger inside the syringe. The next mechanism I will describe is the retraction or withdrawal mechanism. Then I'll explain the lock, unlock, and trigger mechanism. Okay, the insertion and injection mechanism is comprised of the plunger, the spring, and the white cap. You compress the spring, and those green fingers latch in the top of the cap. This arm is ready to descend through the sleeve in the black part, and that tab is ready to catch things when we're all set to go, when it's all done. As long as we're here, I'll explain the lock and unlock mechanism. This is the trigger that shoves down and pinches those fingers together and releases this whole mechanism. This cap, notice there's slots here, slot here that is restricted from descending, and a slot here that's open. What happens is this trigger fits there. This is the locked orientation, and when you twist, then now this can descend. It's in the unlocked. It's in a channel where it can descend and open those, pinch those fingers. That's all hidden inside the lock ring, but I wanted to show you before it was hidden. Then this insertion injection mechanism, the is inserted into the syringe. Notice there's a flange down there on the plunger, and then we put this collar on. This collar clips. This collar becomes a piston inside this black cylinder. I'd like to explain the insertion and injection mechanism. This is largely hidden once it's all assembled. But we've got the syringe with the medication, the plunger is hidden inside the other mechanism. Plunger goes inside the syringe. This collar goes on, locks the two together. And then this whole thing slides through the black collar. This white piston becomes a piston, starts about there. The spring is pushing on this plunger. So about the first ½ inch of travel is the insert the syringe into the patient's arm. Then you keep pushing on the plunger and that arm slides through the sleeve. The medication is injected into the patient, and that arm comes down and releases the withdrawal mechanism. Next, I'll describe the withdrawal or retraction mechanism. Before I put the spring in, let me explain how these pieces fit together. There's this ear that latches into that notch right there that is at the bottom of the sleeve that green arm is going to descend through. These two pieces fit together. There's a tab here. That tab fits in that slot and then rotates, and that ear latches. Focus trouble. So that's armed without the spring. And then this black cup fits on there to force slow rotation before the release. Then we'll take this apart and put the spring in. The spring, there's a radial tang right there that fits in that slot in the white ring. And then the tang on the long axis fits in that slot in this upper cap. We do clockwise rotation until that tab is lined up there, rotates in, and the ear latches. Sorry, hope you could see that. So now this withdrawal retraction mechanism is armed. When it's released, that ear is going to be released. This whole assembly, well, the black ring cannot rotate. It's held by a rib in clear sleeve. This white ring is released and slowly rotates about a quarter of a turn, which then aligns so that the black piece can slip out of the white piece, and they can separate under the pressure of that spring, and that's what withdraws the needle from the patient's arm. Now this insertion injection mechanism slides through this withdrawal release mechanism. The syringe slides through the middle of that. That notch on the black guy fits over that protrusion on the white thing, and these two, press that, clips into place. So this is now armed, ready to inject. We align the slot in this black ring with the slot in the black sleeve up here. We align the long rib in the clear tube and insert the mechanism into the tube, and it kind of latches down in place. Lock, unlock, and trigger mechanism. There's a long slot in the purple trigger button that has to line up with a rib inside the white lock, unlock sleeve. Like that. And then it clicks down in place. Then the lock unlock trigger mechanism has to fit, let's see, there's tabs here and here. Those tabs need to align and fit into these slots in the clear tube. Those slots both allow and restrict the rotation, and that's what accomplishes the lock and unlock. We also have to line up this tab with the corresponding notch in this cap. So slide that down and get those ears to click in. Okay, so those ears clicking into that notch gives the spring inside the insertion release mechanism something to push against. So it's pushing against the clear cylinder, so the needle goes outside the device and inserts into the patient. Okay, I'm going to talk you through what's going to happen. Then I'll trigger it. You'll see it in real time, very quick, and then I'll show it again in slow motion. I'm going to twist this cap slightly counterclockwise to unlock it, to allow the purple plunger to come down and pinch the green fingers, the 2 fingers on the green plunger. You'll see this arm of the plunger descend through the sleeve on the black cylinder as the needle will be inserted into the patient's arm. Then when all the liquid has been expelled, the bottom of this green arm will release the ear on this white mechanism, which will allow the white piece to slowly rotate in the thick silicone grease. And after it's rotated about a quarter of a turn, that will release the latch between the black piece and the white piece, which will allow the spring to withdraw the needle from the patient's arm, and then this white sleeve will latch in the locking ring. I'll show you that back here. That this tab will fit in that slot and lock the mechanism in a safe condition. So to release this, I twist counterclockwise, push the trigger, insert, squirt, and withdraw.